Software to die for. The PROMIS software scandal and how the U.S. Justice Department became software pirates in the name of national security with Ted St. Rein. Or Teed if you prefer. Brought to you by ToorCamp and ToorCon.org. Check them out. www.mediaarchive.com proudly presents this material. Thank you for watching. Also check out www.PROMISscandal.com. And so we have Wackenhut. Of course, Wackenhut's got a new thing, you know, Wackenhut Security, you know, G4, Powerbook. And so Wackenhut's once again a very interesting thing because they're the ones that are involved with the Cabazon Indian Reservation. They're the ones handling security on some of these facilities. They're the ones that are in the inside track. When you want a security company that that will keep your secrets, this is who you turn to. I'm still waiting for my job offer, folks. By the way, I don't have any family anymore. They're all in prison or dead, so I'm a candidate for the CIA. But in any effect, the Big Brother's watching, and it's watching in numerous ways, more ways than one, no doubt. These satellites we keep talking about, and of course, DARPANet and ARPANET and all that other stuff. Part of this base we're on right here, this Titan I missile base, was part of this whole network where the internet came from. They wanted to be able to transmit, signals here to be able to launch the missiles. And maybe in another reality, I'm also into time travel. Go to thetheoryofalmosteverything.com. I have this other website. It's 78,000 slides now. So we're doing 150 slides in 90 minutes. Imagine, so I'm doing like this 400-hour PowerPoint. It's called The Theory of Almost Everything, Ted's Grand Unified Conspiracy Theory. So if you want to learn all about time travel and quarks and neutrinos and how we're all just condensed, all the matter around us here is all just condensed out of energy that basically from the milliseconds before the universe was formed, we're all like that phase change, what people at phase changes, like from ice to water to air, we're just in a phase change. That's all this matter around us is just a little bit of a phase change. There's all these different energies on either side of it that, is all from a different lecture, but look for that, thetheoryofalmosteverything.com. Or maybe just be Theory of Almost Everything. So anyway, so we got these ARPANETs, and we got the NSA, of course, doing their, listening. Anybody heard of Pine Gap, Australia? Anybody? Nobody? I'm putting them all to sleep. This is terrible. And so there's this huge listening post out in the middle of, almost exact center of Australia, that's designed to listen to all the communications coming from all the satellites because it's got a good view of a lot of the southern-facing satellites. So that's Pine Gap, and they write about it down in the Australian papers about how this is our link to the, the spy sky. It basically just enables this thing that, is called Echelon, that a lot of people heard about. A carnivore, is the email version of that. And, it brings us back to our friends, the NSA. And this is a great one. I picked this up off the EFF site. They got a lot of great images there, and it's just kind of funny. We're going to be talking about, anybody heard of room 641A? Whoa! We're going to be talking about that in a minute. But so it's interesting because the EFF has done a lot of research on the NSA and what their civil liberties are. And they've even developed these maps that, and it's funny, they even call it the octopus, the NSA surveillance octopus, and we're all these data transmitters. And look right up here, up in the corner there. We got one right up there, right near us, right out of sight of Seattle. It's right here, Yakima, Washington. And so, I couldn't help but just turn the octopus the other way, because that's what it is. It's the NSA octopus, and they basically, they got us, they got all our data, they got all our stuff. And yeah. Speaking of AT&T. And so anybody know who this is? Mark Klein. I'll give you a hint. His name's Mark Klein. And so once again, he used to be up at AT&T and that switching center up in the San Francisco Bay Area that broke the story on what we see here, room 641A. And it was this mysterious room that nobody could get into except like one person that had super secret security clearance from the NSA because the only guy that could get in here. And it turned out it was this guy. Mark Klein was the guy who was coming in later to do the maintenance on the system and whatever, and he kept hearing this reference to this room 641A, and I got the name of the processor. There's a certain processor that's in there, like SP3 or something like that. And he kept hearing about all these references. What's this? I need to get in here. What's in here? And so he started investigating, and he turned out to be his own investigative reporter. And so the 641A, nobody knew what was in there. They thought it was like mission control, you know, like the control dome. And so, but it was probably just a bunch of hackers in there, you know. But basically what happened is that he had come across some of these documents at the AT&T facility, and somehow or another he had leaked them out or snuck them out or whatever. And he got it basically, here it is, the SG3 LGX. Yeah, imagine having that in your basement. And actually here's another better shot of it in color that the EFF had created for us. Thank you, EFF. And so basically it does exactly what PROMIS wanted to do, you know, 30 years ago, but now, you know, they got a box to do it and it just pipes right into the, you know, all your communications go right through this box. Any email you send probably gets sent through this 641A, this SG3.
This is the one that was just back in the late 80s, early 90s, where they were also tapping into international.
Well, they already can do that. Now, see, what's interesting about the Indian reservations, and when the NSA wants to spy on Americans, all they got to do is plop a listening post onto an Indian reservation in Yakima, Washington, plop an, you know, and right next to the cell tower, or right next to the you know, whatever. They just plop it's on sovereign land. They can spy on Americans all they want. But this, I think this story broke in the 90s, actually, late 90s, 2000, like whatever.
They were searching like on keywords and things too, like president, bomb.
Oh yeah, well that's all keyword recognition software. And yeah, you can't be talking about killing the president on the telephone or smuggling drugs on the telephone because you could get in trouble, you know. But you know, this is what PROMIS was great at, and this is why, you know, we're all here today, and it gives us something to do. You know, what would we do otherwise? You know, we'd just sit around and cruise MySpace. So I don't know, anybody here seen this billboard? The EFF activists or whoever they were went out in the middle of the night, and AT&T works in more places. And they had a video, you go post on the internet and look for this, and then when they were done, they changed the billboard to say AT&T works in more places like NSA headquarters. And so, so EFF, and
where was that at?
this is in San Francisco somewhere, and it was a regular billboard, works in more whatever, I forget what it was going to say, and they came out, and so there's a video of this, you go to YouTube. And so once again, totally support the EFF. If you haven't already, please join. It's relatively cheap. Here's the super secret Google Images view of the Yakima base. I don't know if anybody knows this, but if you pull up this site that we're on right here, if you pull up the Titan I missile silo #1 in eastern Washington, the eastern half of this, the southern half of this site has been blocked out by Google. You can't see the entrance to the missile base, by the way. So if you're hoping to like wave, oh, and by the way, I think it was 2 days ago at 12:30, we got our own satellite shot. If anybody know that, hopefully they'll post it up on ToorCamp.org soon. But we had our basically our own satellite came over and snapped a shot of us.
Boy,
so
that's a pretty big coincidence. It's cool.
What's that?
Big coincidence, huh?
Yeah, ho, coincidence. Well, I think we like pulled some connections. You know? We got people, man, us hackers. And so there's Yakima. And so anybody heard this story? This is brand new. Wired just did a bunch of articles on this. But some of the Houston Herald, or this is in Houston, or San Antonio Tribune or whatever, the reporters were out there, they kept hearing about this super secret facility out south of San Antonio, and so they went out to do a story on it, and they started taking pictures, and they got their cameras confiscated. This is like a big news, you know. And finally they let them go. They got interrogated for 2 hours, but it made huge news in San Antonio. Now everybody knows about the super secret NSA facility. And basically what it is, it's a PROMIS software processing center for the data that they pull in from these various sites. And they're spread out all over the United States, but this is just like 2 weeks old that this story broke, that, you know, so it's all going on around us. So once again, we got these fusion centers, these NSA fusion centers, where they basically pull in all this data that they're collecting from, you know, these different ports. They probably have these room 641As all over the place, and they're pulling all the data in, and they're sending it worldwide to the master, you know, echelon, you know, computer, you know, the beast it's called, the what it used to be called, the battle engagement area system tracker, the beast. You know, and then you got the mark. You know about the mark on the 666 on the barcodes, right? Every barcode actually has those guard bars. There's a 6 that starts at a 6 in the middle and a 6 at the end. And then each side of the barcode is separated depending on what the barcode is, but it's separated by the numbers. But it's basically to turn on a barcode, you read 6. To read the second set of numbers, you read a 6. And then to end the barcode, it reads 6. So every time you scan a barcode, it's 666. Just like Visa. You know the number Visa on your Visa card? Well, Visa in Roman numeral is, the V is 6. And S is like sigma, the 6th letter of the Greek alphabet, and A is like the Babylonian letter A from from the 6 something of Babylon. So the Visa card you have in your wallet spells 666 in 3 different languages. Look into that. Google that if you really want to freak out. Another lecture, theory of almost everything. So now we get into our friend Google. Google is wonderful. It's everywhere. It helps us, but it also at times gets a little too intrusive. And you wonder why. Why is Google placed like this? Why is Google on top of everything? Were they just smart, or did they have a little help? Anybody know what this is? This is the garage that Google was started in. Apparently this is the homeowner. This is the garage that the Google servers were in when they started. And this is where the internet was running off the Google servers for a few years. And just like the rest of us out here, you know, living like squirrels, as my Bulgarian film student friend would say, we're living like, I took her to Burning Man last year, we're living like squirrels! Oh, I can't handle this. So anyway, the Google Garage, what's interesting about Google is that they were running on hard times. And as the conspiracy theory goes, you just Google this, you know, if you want, but search for it on Google. You know, they were given a $50,000 front money from the CIA. You know, when they needed some money, and they sold out basically, and they took this money supposedly, allegedly, whatever term I need to put in there, and they basically from that point on they became a front company for CIA. And whenever time they needed money, they just called up their handler and, hey, we need another 50 grand. And, oh, no problem. Here you go. Let's take over the world. And in the process, you can have a few $1 billion. So this is where it all started, the Google Garage. Ain't it great? Love technology, just like Apple Computer. And so anybody know who this is? Speaking of the Hope, the nexthope.org. Robert Steele, ex-CIA. He lectures every other year at the Last Hope, the Next Hope, the Final Hope. And so he knows all about this kind of stuff. And in fact, he gave a lecture, what was it called? But friggin', I filmed, ran from 10 a.m. The conference started at 10 a.m. and Steele started his lecture, I think, at 11 p.m. and ran until 5 a.m. So at the Last Hope conference, I filmed from one day on Saturday, I filmed from 10 a.m. until 5 a.m. the next morning, like 20 hours of content in that one track. 5 minutes? Oh, wow. We got to hurry. Okay, so we got this octopus, and basically it's controlling all the money and controlling all the good stuff. And we got Danny Casolaro, who basically helped break the whole story. Interesting story as it is. Of course, it ties into a lot of things. And oh, damn, how did that get in there? But anyway, so there's all, other sorts of conspiracies and other stories that, you could get into. You just have to, pull up Google Video or something. And so, God rest his soul, Danny Casolaro. Here's one of the flags somebody made for him. Investigative reporter, 1947 and 1991. Once again, I want to dedicate this presentation to him. He's really been an inspiration in my life, and his perseverance and how he basically was able to research this kind of stuff. Of course, we never know what the CIA is up to these days. They're just busy there, sweeping up, after the aftermath of all the different stuff. And I think we're going to leave it there. The next slide, there was one guy I couldn't talk about. I couldn't even mention his name. His slide's coming up next, but I'm not even going to show his thing because he's threatened to sue for slander over mentioning his name, that he was associated with PROMIS. But his initials are EB, and if you find him, you'll know who I'm talking about. He was all involved with the cabazons and everything. So I guess we're going to wrap it because we're almost out of tape. And so look for this on my website, hackerdvds.com, and also PROMISscandal.com, and I guess that will be it. Thank you.